Okay, question 3, maximum mark 7. Consider f of x, g of x, and h of x for x belongs to the real numbers, where h of x is equal to f of g of x. Given that g of 3 is 7 and g prime of 3 is 4, f prime of 7 is negative 5. Find the gradient of the normal to the curve of h at x equals 3. Okay, so bit of a slog, but 7 marks. I'll go through the question. I'll go through the answer, and then we'll go through the mark scheme. So, the gradient of the normal to the curve of h at 3. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find h prime of 3. Okay, that's and then that will give us the gradient of the curve. Yeah. So gradient of curve at 3, but then we need to come back and modify that. So if we know that h of x is f of g of x, we need to find h prime of x. Well, if we've got f of g of x, if we think about our derivatives, this is the chain rule. We need to find f prime of g of x, but then we need to multiply that by g prime of x. Well, not as hard as scary, because when we want h prime of 3, if we look above, we're going to go for f prime g of 3. G of 3. Let's just write this out in full. Times by g prime of 3. So g of 3 is up here. G of 3 is 7. So we're looking for f prime of 7 times by g prime. Oh, g prime of 3 is 4. Okay, f prime of 7. Well, we've got that here. F prime of 7 is, so let's put an equal sign here. We've got negative 5 times by 4. I'm just going to add an extra page. And let's just flip back. So we know that the gradient of h at 3 is negative 20. So that's the gradient of the curve of h when x is 3. But we need to find the gradient of the normal. So we know h prime of 3 is equal to negative 20. Well, the normal, when we're dealing with the normal, we're actually dealing with m1 times m2 is equal to negative 1. We know that the gradient is that, so the gradient of the normal is negative 1 over h prime of 3. In this case, h prime of 3 is negative 20, so the gradient of the normal is 1 over 20. Right, let's find out where the marks are from. So in green, recognizing the need to find h prime. Well, h prime, here we go. So we've got an m1 for h prime. Recognizing to find h prime 3, seen anywhere. Okay, great. Yep, that's there. Evidence of using chain rule. Yep, here, this is m1. Correct working. Negative 5 times 4. There we go. A1. H prime of 3 is equal to negative 20. Yeah, okay. A1 equals. Evidence of taking negative reciprocal for normal. Here we go. Yep. M1 for either this or this, this bit or this bit. Gradient of normal is 1 over 20 A1. Okay, so if you're quick enough to process all of that and you just go, haha, the normal is 1 over 20, you're going to score 4 marks, N4, for just this final answer. So really do communicate your answers.